The Vögele 1803-3 is a universal paver. It weighs around 17 tonnes and can lay up to 700 tonnes of material per hour. WSI have modelled two versions of the machine. 04-1077 is the wheeled paver, and 04-1078 is the tracked paver. The models come in a Vögele branded box, and it's good that each version of the model has its own box design with a picture of the appropriate machine on it. So with both boxes there's a choice of which one shall we open, so let's do the wheeled one. The boxes have also been used thoughtfully because there's a few specification details of the real machine printed on the box. Opening up the inside, the packaging inside is fairly conventional, with a couple of expanded polystyrene trays, and they're helpfully marked top and bottom. Also in the box is a bag containing a brochure and a pin. And actually it's a refreshing change because this little manual describes all of the features of the model. In this regard it sets a high standard, and hopefully it will be followed for future models. So the initial impressions are good, let's get on and open up the box. Well, it's factory sealed and it's completely sealed with tape around all four sides. So there's some careful work with a knife needed. Once that's done, the tray can be lifted and there's the model sitting inside. It's a very detailed model, so you need to be a little bit careful getting it out, but at least the tight packaging protects it well. The model is fully assembled, but there are a few bits of packaging just to remove, and then the model's ready to be displayed. Starting with the wheeled paver, the underside is very detailed. The material screw looks good, and so do the slick rubber tyres. The wheels themselves are also really nicely made. At the front, the hopper sides and material belt are all modelled in metal, and there are nice rollers at the front too. The engine cover has very good grills, but a particular highlight is all of the tiny warning sign graphics. The canopy has a windscreen with wipers, and the Paver dock assistant traffic lights are also modelled. In the operator's area there's more glazing on the side panels, the floor is excellent, and the console has a steering wheel. A really nice touch is that there are even graphics on the inside. The screed detailing is really good too, with excellent non-slip surfaces and finely cast consoles. Another first-class touch is the rubber flaps on either side of the screed. The tracked version of the model has some differences. Apart from the nice metal tracks, the base plate is of a different design. The track frames are very detailed for their size, with more nice graphics. The inside of the hopper is also slightly different on the tracked version. And the operator's console is different too, because there are joysticks instead of a steering wheel. The Vögele 1803 series are very popular pavers, and they can often be seen as part of road resurfacing teams in towns and cities. This is the -2 version of the machine, and it's surprisingly large when you're standing near to it. Also, when you're close to the real machine, you can see what a good job WSI have done in modelling the details, particularly with things like the console, the handrails, and all of the small graphics. The first thing to do is to deliver the pavers to the cranes etc. test area, and they arrive neatly packed up in a transport configuration. In the test area they're quickly offloaded by the giant one-armed loader crane, and then the testing can begin. To keep the transport headroom down, the roof canopy is folded so you can pull it up and it pulls the exhaust pipe with it. And you can adjust the mirrors on the canopy into a working position, and in fact they fold right forward for transport if you want. Also, to get the machine ready for its first load, we can open up the sides of the hopper. These are nicely engineered because they work smoothly, and it's really good the way the pieces at the front are also hinged so they close up too. Also at the front there are working rollers to engage the wheels of a tipper truck that's unloading. And you can also put a pin in the towing hitch, and here we're using Cranes Etc's patented method for doing this. The pin is finally popped in using Cranes Etc's patented finger. Let's try out the wheeled paver first and see how it travels, and it's very smooth. In fact, the whole feeling of the model is certainly high quality. The big wheels roll independently, which is good because it means they're not fixed to a common axle. And the rear wheels are very good too because they roll easily and they're also on a pivoting arrangement. Pavers like this steer by using the small rollers, and it's good to see that this has been implemented on the model. All four rollers are linked together, and the steering is also proportional, with the front ones steering more than the rear ones. With the steering set, the model turns really well, so WSI have done a great job with this feature. The tracked version of the model is different because, surprisingly, it's got tracks. Although they won't quite roll on a smooth surface, they are very nice and they're really quite loose and free rolling when you move them by hand. Another nice feature, and it applies to both the tracked and the wheeled version of the model, is the material screws, which can be rotated. So again, this is another high quality piece of model engineering by WSI. Let's now give the crawler tracks a test on a rougher surface, and because they can grip properly, they work very well. The next feature on the model is the screed, and that can be raised and lowered. And it's good that the hydraulic rams that control it are stiff enough to hold the screed up if you want. The screed is also adjustable for width, so you can pull out each side and it telescopes nicely, so you can lay a nice width of asphalt. Moving up into the operator's area, the seats swing out so that the operator can get a better view looking forwards. And to keep the operator dry or prevent him getting sunburn, there's also an extendable canopy on each side. There are 2 seats, one on either side of the machine, and the operator's console is on a rail so it can be positioned in front of either of the seats. And it also swivels so that it faces the seat properly. But we're not done with the features yet because there are still more. And that's because the model has a number of opening panels that let you see inside the engine compartment. The panels all have nice smooth hinges so they can be posed in any position that you want. And once again, the whole thing's been engineered very well by WSI. There's also a third opening panel up on top of the engine. And once all the panel doors are open, you've then got quite a detailed engine to have a look at. Again, the whole feeling of the implementation of this feature is one of high quality. And it's clear that WSI and Vögele have paid special attention to get this to be a top quality model. So let's put the Paver to work and we'll get our operator nicely seated. And because he's lazy and doesn't do much, we'll move the console in front of him. With that done, it's then nice to build up a simple worksite using a variety of models. And it's easy to make a convincing and realistic display. There's no doubt that these dash-free Vögele models by WSI are excellent. The details are great and so are the features, and they're made really well too. These are among the very best models seen by Cranes etc, and there's no doubt they're outstanding.